NewsNation's Joe Khalil. Take it away, Joe.
Yeah, Connell, so look, obviously, for more than a century, U.S. Steel has been an American staple. Now that there's talk that this Japanese company is all but certain to acquire it, it is going to be lost from the state of Pennsylvania. So we're now joined by Senator John Fetterman.
Yeah.
Senator, thank you for being with us. Just your reaction, number one, to this news, and any possibility that you might be able to stop this deal from happening.
Shock and anger. It was just absolutely astonished. I live directly across the street from the steel mill and the Union Hall, and I've always had a really great relationship with the management from Burt all the way down, and I was stunned. And then when I found out that they also didn't tell the union either, I just really thought there must be something in play, and it must be they don't have to care about what happens to the union or a relationship with myself, and there perhaps is a really, really large golden kind of parachute. I don't know.
You're obviously losing a big employer in your state and a manufacturer, but there are other senators who've brought up concerns about national security. So I'm wondering.
No, actually, I was the first person to bring that up. I'm not sure who else did that. I've been saying this for years. I'm not and it's for me, steel is national security. It's economic security for the workers, for our communities, and I realize that Japan is a great ally, but I just believe that steel should remain American-owned, made in American by union workers.
So, do you know what the path would be to potentially prevent the deal from moving forward, as you've expressed?
I don't know exactly what that is, but I can promise how much vocal and how hard I'm going to try to work to derail that. And hold them accountable for what they've decided to do, and not even talk about the union or even talk about this publicly at all, saying, hey, what does this think? They didn't, so they must not have thought that it wasn't something most people were going to be approve of.
So, I mean, you may have an uphill battle there. It seems like this is all but done.
Sure.
But there are some senators that reached out to the Treasury Department. Is that possibly an avenue that you might have too?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if it's an accident that they made this announcement close to Christmas, and most people are kind of checking out and whatever. But absolutely, I'm going to be committed to making sure that if there's a possible way, whether even reaching out to the White House or anything to talk about it, it's like, is this really in our best interest nationally?
We've been talking about how, sad to say, I mean, I'm from Michigan, Detroit goes through the same thing, where we've lost our manufacturing bases in the United States, and president after president, party after party promises to try to restore that. What does this move say about their efforts on both sides of the aisle to do that?
Well, I mean, I'd like to point out you referenced Detroit. I mean, it was a Democratic president that saved the audio industry, and the Republicans at the time didn't support that. And I'm so glad. And I'm always buying American vehicles. I just bought a Ford Bronco, a Jeep Wrangler, and now my campaign is a Chevy Traverse. So I really believe in it, and I believe that the steel that makes up these kind of products should be American.
Yeah, and you know as well as anyone, when a big corporation manufacturer shuts down, it has ripple effects through the economy too. So if you could speak directly to the folks in Pennsylvania and around the country who rely on U.S. Steel, what would you say to them now?
I would just say I think that steel is security, whether that's our national security and the security in the union families that rely on that, as well as our communities as well too. And I'm going to do whatever I can to stop that. And go Steelers.
I want to ask you one more question on a different topic now. Mm-hmm. This border deal, Ukraine funding, Israel funding, this is all still coming together. You have been, I think, more outspoken than most Democrats about the need for border security. What are you seeing so far in these negotiations that may be good? Is there anything that you see that you oppose border funding?
I sure hope so. And I've been clear that it's not ideal to be having this kind of a conversation under the end of a year, under this kind of things attached. to the other aid issues. But I don't think it's unreasonable to address this. And I really think it's two things can be true at the same time. You can be incredibly pro-immigration, as I have been and always will be, but also realizes that right now the situation has evolved and changed, and I think it should be addressed. And I think it's a reasonable conversation that we should have, and I sure hope we do, and successfully deliver the kind of aid to our strong allies of Ukraine and Israel and other issues there.
The Republicans negotiating this deal, many of them have expressed desire to go back to Trump-era border policies. And some Democrats say, we want to secure the border, but for us, that goes too far. Many of the policies of the previous administration. What do you feel about that?
I don't know anyone want to go back to I guess they think it's the great old days of insurrection and all that other kind of stuff, what you bring to it. But what I do think we should agree is that a secure border and pro-immigration are true at the same time. And I believe that.
All right, Senator, thank you for joining us live. Thank you for making me look very short live on TV.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
No, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Connell, send it back over to you.
All right, Joe, great interview, and our thanks to Senator Fetterman as well. Joe Khalil live in Washington on Capitol Hill for us. So we'll have more news to come here.